Well, the first day of the short monsoon session of Parliament saw the passage of 2 bills, introduced an introduction of 3 more legislations and withdrawal of 1 covering a wide range of issues from medical education in the country to cooperative banks and even farmers. There was healthy debate between the opposition and the Treasury on the bills, and the government put its points across firmly, countering the opposition's charges. But the tone was set earlier in the day before proceedings began by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who gave a call to all MPs to stand united with the nation's soldiers guarding our borders under challenging and tense circumstances in COVID times.
Monday saw curtains up for the monsoon session of Parliament during COVID times amidst drastically changed circumstances. It saw the unprecedented sitting of each House of Parliament being held in both the houses, considering social distancing norms and related guidelines. Before proceedings got underway, Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the media, saying the session is being held under specific circumstances. He congratulated all members of Parliament on choosing the path of duty during the pandemic. He said that the session will see key legislations being enacted and issues being discussed. The PM made a special mention of the Jawans posted at the border, appreciating their valor. Prime Minister expressed confidence that Parliament will give an unambiguous and united message that all its members are standing firmly with the country's soldiers, as is their responsibility. Proceedings on the first day of the monsoon session began at 9 a.m. Right at the start, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla informed all members of the demise of former President Pranab Mukherjee, music maestro Pandit Jasraj, Vasant Kumar and 13 former MPs. The House observed a few moments silence to pay homage to the departed, and then proceedings were adjourned for 1 hour. When the House resumed, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman sought Parliament's nod for additional spending of rupees 2.35 lakh crore, which includes a cash outgo of rupees 1.66 lakh crore, primarily to meet expenses for combating the COVID-19 pandemic. She also tabled a proposal to withdraw the Banking Regulation Amendment Bill 2020, introduced in the House in March this year, which was approved by the House. Thereafter, the Banking Regulation Amendment Bill 2020 related to cooperative banks was tabled. It brings cooperative banks under the supervision of the RBI in order to protect the interests of depositors and will replace the ordinance promulgated in June for the same purpose. The Finance Minister rejected the opposition's charges related to the bill, saying that state cooperative laws are not being touched and that the proposed law seeks to regulate cooperative banks same as other commercial banks.
It is only restricted to those activities which come under the name of bank, banker, banking that we are trying to regulate under the entry 45 of the union list. So the competence is very well established. And we are very clearly saying we are not looking at the states, we are state cooperative laws. That will remain wherever it is, we are not touching them.
Thereafter, the government also tabled 3 bills in place of 3 other ordinances. Minister of State for Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, Rao Sahib Danve, introduced the Essential Commodities Amendment Bill, while Agriculture Minister Narendra Singh Tomar introduced the Farmers' Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Bill and the Farmers' Empowerment and Protection Agreement on Price Assurance and Farm Services Bill. The Agriculture Minister rejected the opposition's charges on the bills, saying they will ensure better remuneration for farmers and the state's right to fix MSP will remain unchanged.
कोई भी व्यक्ति अब इस बिल के बाद किसान के खेत तक पहुंचेगा और किसान के खेत के मामले में किसी भी प्रकार का करार इस बिल में निषेध है। खेत का मालिकाना हक किसान का होगा। खेत के बारे में किसी प्रकार का करार नहीं हो सकता है। ये करार होगा सिर्फ फसल का।
The first day of the monsoon session also saw the Lok Sabha giving its nod to 2 bills, National Commission for Homeopathy Bill and the National Commission for Indian System of Medicine Bill. Both bills together propose a medical education system that improves access to quality and affordable medical education by ensuring availability of adequate and high-quality homeopathy and Indian system of medicine professionals across the country. Both bills have already received the stamp of approval from Rajya Sabha. The 18-day session will see 47 proposals being tabled apart from 11 bills set to replace ordinances. The session may be short, but it packs a big punch in terms of the government's legislative agenda. With Shailendra Mishra in New Delhi, Newsnight Desk, TD India.
And let's also tell you what happened in the Rajya Sabha. Well, over there, senior Janata Dal United leader HARIVANSH Narayan Singh was re-elected as Rajya Sabha deputy chairperson with voice vote. All MPs extended greetings to HARIVANSH Narayan. Also, the chairperson administered the oath to 50 newly elected members, including Jharkhand Mukti Morcha Chief Shibu Soren and BJP's Syed Zafar Islam. Although the customary handshake with the chairperson was given a miss, all due to COVID-19.
Rajya Sabha re-elected Janata Dal United parliamentarian HARIVANSH Narayan Singh as deputy chairman of the upper house by voice vote. HARIVANSH's name was proposed by BJP president and party MP Jagat Prakash Nadda. Leader of the house THAVARCHAND GEHLOT seconded it. The opposition had fielded Manoj Jha, an RJD member. Soon after the election, MPs from various political parties congratulated HARIVANSH. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also congratulated him for being re-elected.
मैं श्रीमान हरिवंश जी को दूसरी बार इस सदन का उपसभापति चुने जाने पर पूरे सदन और सभी देशवासियों की तरफ से बहुत-बहुत बधाई देता हूं। सामाजिक कार्यों और पत्रकारिता की दुनिया में हरिवंश जी ने जिस तरह अपनी ईमानदार पहचान बनाई, उस वजह से मेरे मन में हमेशा उनके लिए बहुत सम्मान रहा है।
All the members congratulated HARIVANSH and praised his work.
जैसा कि सर्वविदित है, हमारे उपसभापति जी प्रखर बुद्धिजीवी हैं, कलम के धनी हैं और कर्मठ राजनीतिक कार्यकर्ता हैं। आपने विभिन्न दायित्वों का निर्वहन समय-समय पर किया है और सामाजिक, राजनीतिक और आर्थिक जीवन का कोई भी पहलू आपसे अछूता नहीं रहा है।
वो बहुत ही बड़े विद्वान हैं, लेखक हैं और इस फील्ड से जो आते हैं उनके लिए सभी बराबर होते हैं। मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि आने वाले समय में भी तीनों तरफ ध्यान देंगे।
Rajya Sabha proceedings were on Monday adjourned for an hour as a mark of respect for the memory of Pranab Mukherjee and the 3 other sitting members. Traditionally, the proceedings of the House are adjourned for the day when a sitting member or former president dies. However, in view of the short 18-day session being held under the shadow of the pandemic, the proceedings were adjourned for 1 hour. Jharkhand Mukti Morcha Chief Shibu Soren, DMK leader Tiruchi Shiva and BJP's Syed Zafar Islam were among the 15 newly elected members who took oath. As the monsoon session of Parliament that is being held with several restrictions in view of the COVID-19 pandemic, the MPs walked to the designated spot, took the oath, but did not go to the customary handshake with Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu. Naidu welcomed them with folded hands as members came forward for the oath-taking, signed the register and walked back to their designated seats without approaching other leaders for greetings. With Rishi Kumar and Rajesh Raj, News Night Desk, DD News.
And the monsoon session of Parliament that began today has been unique and without precedent from day one. For the first time, while Lok Sabha members were seated not only in the upper house's chamber but also in the visitors' gallery, all social distancing and COVID-related safety norms were followed to ensure proceedings are held in the safest manner possible.
5 images of parliamentary proceedings during COVID times. The global pandemic has forced new protocols in the functioning of the temple of the world's largest democracy. This monsoon session has become historic in many ways. Parliament complex was sanitized before the Lok Sabha proceedings began at 9 in the morning. Thermal guns were used to check body temperature of every person entering the house. They were allowed inside only if they had no symptoms along with normal body temperature.
जिस तरह से श्री ओम बिरला जी ने जो व्यवस्था की है, कल्पना से भी परे है कि लोगों को कोरोना संक्रमण के काल में किस तरह से सुरक्षित रखते हुए इस लोकसभा को चलाया जा सके.
Efforts are being made to minimize the use of paper as well. Hence, MPs marked their attendance digitally, another application for the ever-present and indispensable smartphone. MPs certainly weren't complaining with the new facility.
अब अटेंडेंस भी पेपरलेस होगी और उसके ऐप के द्वारा हम अपनी हाजिरी भरेंगे. अभी मैंने यहाँ आके ऐप डाउन करके हाजिरी भरी और मैंने फोटो आने के बाद उसमें क्लिक करा तो मेरी प्रेजेंस हो गई.
आंख में ब्लिंक कर देने से भी वो ऑटोमेटिक फोटो लेगा. सबमिट कर देने के बाद आपका वो तो आपका लोकेशन एक्यूरेसी नोटेड है, तो आप कहाँ से किया इसको वो लोग को पता चले. यस बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया.
Well, all this happened before entering the house. The view from inside was also unique. Most visible being the safe distance seating arrangements of members of parliament. Lok Sabha members were seated in the chambers of both houses of parliament. MPs were also designated seats in the visitors' galleries. Every MP wore a mask. The Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers were present with masks on their faces. The members were separated by suitable distance and shields. Preparations for this unique session began much earlier. MPs, their staff and journalists covering Parliament all had to undergo COVID testing so that no infected person entered the House. Only a negative report permitted entry. All MPs were given a kit with sanitizer, mask, shield and other essentials. Touchless sanitizer dispensers have also been installed at suitable places around the House. All COVID-related protocols are being strictly followed. A testing facility will be available on Parliament premises throughout the session. Emergency medical teams and ambulance facilities are also on standby. So every arrangement has been put in place for immediate health care if needed.
हमारी ओर से भी नागरिकों के बीच ये संदेश जाना चाहिए कि भारत की जनता की प्रगति, उत्कर्ष और उन्हें हर प्रकार से सुरक्षित रखने के लिए पूरा सदन एक मत है.
On day one, the Lok Sabha functioned from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. On other days, it would function from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. The Rajya Sabha session took place in the evening on day one, but will function from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the other days of the session. There is no question hour, but half an hour has been set aside for 0 hour in the Lok Sabha. Questions can also be laid on the table of the House. The manner in which Parliament is functioning, even during COVID pandemic, is sending a message to the world that Indian democracy is very mature and ready to face challenges of any kind. New Zealand, China, France, Britain, Indonesia, Japan and the Netherlands have also had Parliament sessions during the COVID pandemic. With inputs from Parliament team, News Night Desk, DD India.
And that brings up our In Focus tonight, which